I am breaking out so badly. Normally this oil doesn't break me out, but oils you can get in a store break me out. I've been trying to determine whether or not this has been breaking me out because it has like a billion of ingredients in it. Is it the castor oil that's breaking me out? Build up? Do I have to go lighter? I don't know. Welcome to my channel. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Exis and this is my channel Exis Does. And if you were to ask me what I do right now, it's what I do, commentary, and my best. Somehow I'm managing to do all three. Right now I'm doing commentary and I'm pretty okay with it. Today's honorary plushie is this Amy Rose plushie. Having Amy Rose for this conversation seems very on brand because I have a crazy conspiracy theory in my canon that Amy Rose is definitely top divine, feminine, high value woman. Pre-IDW Comics rebrand. We'll go by that, all right? Because I read the comics a lot. Amy Rose has always been portrayed as no character development outside of my man for Sonic. So I don't know. Because the topic of the discussion is about a lot of certain behaviors that I think we should be a little bit critical of.
I'm not gonna lie, don't tell the feminists, but I would rather stay home and cook and clean.
Right? I feel like she's great honorary plushie for this conversation. We're not even gonna get into some things. We're gonna get into a lot, okay? I can't even say some things because the notes are insane, okay? There's even a page 2. I got so much to say about this, but I do have to put out a disclaimer. The last time I talked about any sort of gender-based discussion, which was my, I believe my Leave Black Women Alone video, under the tag I put Black women. So I always put commentary, Black women, whatever the video is relevant to, I put those tags underneath. And I noticed as soon as that video came out, while I was met with a lot of understanding and concern, I also saw a lot of fake accountability is what I like to call it. A lot of shallow arguments, if you will. A lot of a certain demographic was coming on to my video and saying that Black women need to hold themselves accountable for a series of reasons, a list of reasons that could easily be debunked if you just do a simple Google search. My space is not for that. My space does not entertain that type of negativity, okay? So I'm just putting a disclaimer out here. If you do put in any hateful or negative comments at the bottom of this video, you will get deleted. I do want to add that I do find it interesting that when you look at the tag Black women, there is a lot of self-hating content pertaining to it. Some of it is a version of empowering. I don't look at it, so I can't say whether or not if it's like true empowerment or really all that helpful or just inciting the same type of negative behavior. But the last time I was typing in the hashtag Black women, I saw a lot of negativity, fake accountability argument of like Black women being whores and bed wenches and all of this other toxic self-hatred BS. I think that at this point, especially with what I'm about to talk about today, and especially with other people noticing that individuals are starting to kind of wake up from this false narrative of how the dating landscape, how dating culture, how men and women should act and should be, especially in minority and ethnic spaces. I think we need to really stop with the self-hatred because it's not getting us anywhere. And as I will be discussing today, now there are people who are not supposed to be in these spaces putting in their own input, jumping to leaps and bounds and overstepping their boundaries in regards to what they think they know about these conversations. Okay, so what do I mean by that? All right, well, let's take it back a little bit because apparently this content creator named SheraSeven, she is taking off. She is taking off a ton. For those of y'all who don't know who SheraSeven is, she is the quote unquote sprinkle lady. She has coined that term.
Sprinkle, you're not, if it's a situationship, then you're not in anything. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to ask how to get out. It's not even a relationship, so you don't have anything. You can just ghost. Call me a lazy gold digger any day, and you ain't gonna call me broke. Whenever they say they don't want commitment, say good, I don't either. A man always wants what he can't have. A man for money without feeling that, like this. Do you want to make me happy right now?
She originally came off as a financial coach, apparently. A financial coach teaching women how to secure financial gains through the means of hypergamy, dating generously, I guess is what she says. And more or less, honey, it's sugaring, baby. It's good old sex work, honey. It's Shout out to the sex workers. That's what she's teaching y'all how to do. How to land a lick, how to be a sugar baby. She's giving you the city girl rule book, but instead of a 13 by 7-inch lace front all across your head, you're doing it with a half wig. And instead of a Cuban link, you're gonna do it with a Van Cleef bracelet. She is giving you the rule book in the most eloquent way as possible, okay? Some people would argue that no, she's not just a financial coach, she's not just an SW coach, okay? She is also a relationship coach. And to that I say, put a pin in that because we're going to unpack it. Before we delve more into SheraSeven and the phenomenon that she is, because she really is a phenomenon, I think she's been able to take up spaces and have people who really have no place talking about this type of content put in their own input about her and her movement, try to jump to all types of conclusions in regards to who she is and what she represents. I want to talk about why I think we got here. Why I think we got to the point where we on the internet were so casual and so comfortable with allowing someone like a SheraSeven to more or less teach women how to, if not sugar properly, to get into situations that could potentially be dangerous and mask them in a veil of hypergamy. I really want to unpack that, but we gotta go back significantly, okay? And I think what I really want to start with first is how we view the system of this world currently. In particular, because I live in America and because I'm assuming a lot of my content is catered towards an American and Western audience, we're gonna sit here and talk about like Western culture. I'm noticing a lot of people are rebranding labels or recoining terms to what is digestible and what's comfortable for them. In one space, what I might call patriarchy, another person might just call the system. What another person might call the system, another person might just say modern society. What another person might call modern society, another person might just say it's the Matrix, which to think that we would name or coin the systemic issues of America and of society as a whole as a movie franchise, wacky to me. I didn't think we'd get that far, but I guess that's what happens when you lack media literacy and nobody does reading anymore. It's fine. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is that more or less, no matter what you call it, whether it be the patriarchy, the system, modern society, and or the Matrix, they're all basically saying the same things with different labels. To me, and this is my opinion. I also don't want anybody clutching their pearls and getting scared because I'm using these terms patriarchy, these buzzwords that make people feel uncomfortable. Me using the word patriarchy makes you feel uncomfortable, but you're perfectly okay with Matrix. Either click off of this video or just pretend I'm saying Matrix, okay? I don't have time for it, all right? Get it together, snowflake. When I think of patriarchy, I do not think of it like a scapegoat for a certain group of people. And this, I'm gonna be hot. Group that I'm talking about in particular would be men. When I think of patriarchy, I think of it as like a systemic structure and rule book that has been taught to both men and women on how they are supposed to act in the world and in Western culture or in society in general in order to obtain some sort of success. It's not just women, femmes, non-binary folk, marginalized people who are negatively impacted by patriarchy. Stay with me here. I also do think it's cishet men too who are negatively impacted by patriarchy. And the reason why is because it is a system. I think what happened with the commercial feminist movement of the 2010s is that we saw patriarchy as a scapegoat. We thought it was cute and quirky to put on mugs, white male tears here, and fuck you and your white male feelings, and all men suck, and whoa. Anything that's commercial and capitalized through late stage capitalism isn't really gonna explore through intersectionality and through a lot of context why we have talking points like patriarchy and what feminism is actually supposed to mean, right? They're not gonna do that. They're not going to touch bases on fourth wave feminism and the intersectionality of trans and queer folks because that would scare away their middle American feminists who listen listen to Taylor Swift all day, refuse to see other people's oppression outside of the lens of their own oppression and their simple middle America white woman lifestyle. I'm just being real, okay? When it's commercial, you don't want people to talk about those things or have that intersectionality, because then slowly but surely you're going to start to realize that patriarchy is a system, probably slash modern society, probably slash matrix, probably slash whatever you want to call it, probably slash the world as we know it, the system infrastructure put in place as we know it is broken. Then people are going to start gathering together, protesting, actually getting shit done. And if they do that, then all these uber billionaires won't have any more money. Ooh, tinfoil cap on. That's the belief I have about patriarchy. Men don't benefit from patriarchy in the way that we think they do, and only a very specific niche group of men can benefit from patriarchy and probably could do it a lot easier at one point. But because of all of the trials and tribulations of late stage capitalism, because of the climate, because of what we're having to deal with in modern society right now, I do not believe that men are able to benefit from patriarchy in the same way that they used to. Now, that does not mean, okay, all right, let me cook on this one, okay, does not mean that men do not have a certain amount of privilege than women, than other men, than other groups. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that patriarchy as a construct, not as a scapegoat, patriarchy as the system is not as damn it, Carl, I really wish you'd stop talking about golfing all day. You're really affecting my feminine aura. Like, no, as a construct, okay? It's not helping anybody. And it hasn't helped anybody for years. As things evolved, as things became more late staged, as capitalism screwed us all over, it's become worse and worse and worse. And we are all negatively impacted by patriarchy. And it's sad because a lot of this content that's coming out, a lot of the dating coach, a lot of the fears, the pills, all of that refuses to acknowledge that the system that's put in place isn't benefiting us anymore, and instead is doing a bunch of finger pointing saying, no, it's this gender's fault, it's that gender's fault, the non-binary folks and trans people are going to eat our kid, get them. The system that has been put in place that is screwing us over. With that being said, I'd also like to add that doesn't mean I'm saying blame everything on societal structure and don't get shit done. That's not what I'm saying, okay? Two things can be true at once. Something I've realized with my time on the internet and how I see the internet works is people fail to understand the fact that two things can exist at once. They can coexist at once. We do that all the time. So with that being said, we can critique how crappy the societal structure in life is right now, and also make an effort in ourselves to self-actualize and do better for ourselves with the cards that we've been dealt. But that still doesn't mean that we sit up here and we say, you know, racism doesn't exist, sexism doesn't exist, all the isms don't exist, you know, you just have to work hard and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. No. Those things still exist, but we can still get our shit together and do the best we can. You can acknowledge that the world sucks, but also work on yourself. That's all I'm gonna say. Now that I've established that patriarchy is a societal structure, I wanna go into the feminist movement we had in like the 2010s. Girl boss, gatekeep girl boss, right? This is gonna be really, really hard to edit, okay? Because I'm really trying to like set the foundation in place for where I'm going with this, okay? I really hope I can land the plane today. I hope I can land the plane. Commercial feminism in the 2010s didn't work. And I think one of the reasons why commercial feminism in the 2010s, again, commercial feminism, not fourth wave intersectional feminism, okay, but commercial feminism, didn't really work, because what it did is it told women that if you move in the same way a man does, if you are as and as awful in the same way a man is, if you work just as hard and be the same type of quote unquote breadwinner that a man is, you will obtain the same access, the same resources, the same money and power that a man has. And time again, we have realized, and women are realizing, that's like, this isn't what I want. That's not the case, which is fair. Nobody wants to sit up here and work a job that they hate and feel like they have to be the breadwinner of their home and feel like there's no support system. I get that, okay? However, when we all collectively realized that third wave / commercial feminism wasn't really working for us, what I was expecting all of us to do is say, this isn't working for us. I don't really want this. I don't want to be a antagonistic Mad Men, Wolf on Wall Street-esque archetype for women. I don't want to be that, and neither should men want to be that too. We should all just collectively work on getting better. No, instead what we did is we went back 50 years. We didn't watch Mad Men, by the way. I know Mad Men is boring, but y'all need to get into it, because if y'all actually watched Mad Men for what it was and how good of a show it is and how it dismantles the facade and image of the nuclear family, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have taken us like this long to realize that this whole slew of bullshit ain't it. We all went back 50 years, went back to the 60s advertisements, the contrived versions of what a nuclear family was advertisement. We all went back to the modest traditional values rhetoric, and we all collectively thought, okay, if commercial feminism is bad, femininity must be good, traditional values must be good. This is the answer. This is the way. If we push forward and it's not working, let's just go all the way back and try and like redo it all over again. And I'm here to tell you that ain't it, sis. That's not the answer, okay? Because commercial capitalistic version of feminism did not work does not mean that you going back and cosplaying Susie Homemaker with your boyfriend that don't know how to really be a leader like that and really don't got a job secured like that is the answer. That is not the answer. I'm just being real. I'm being blunt. I'm being real. Mama's on a roll, okay? But we said that was the answer, right? It's because of the influx of propaganda that was on the internet. By propaganda, I mean the influx of self-actualization content, the influx of dating coach content, the influx of divine feminine, lifestyle, soft life, black women in luxury, girly, elegant woman, not versus not elegant women content, and of course the notorious uber toxic manosphere / red pill content, okay? Supplementary reading. I'm not going to lay out what the manosphere or the red pill is. There are more than enough content creators talking about it. FD Signifier does a really good video talking about how it basically runs the social media algorithms now. I don't want to make this a habit where I'm constantly debunking manosphere, gender war bullcrap, all of that, okay? Manosphere red pill content, okay? You with me? All right. This is where movements like traditional wife, tradwife lifestyle, all of that fester, cultivate a community, cultivate a following, and low-key brainwash people. Despite popular belief, the manosphere isn't out here to help young men. The manosphere isn't out here to help self-actualize young men. The manosphere does not care about men in the way they think they do. You go even further and you look at the levels of the manosphere, the little subcultures, whether that be the black pill, purple, orange, green, I don't know what other pills you have, even down to the black manosphere, that I feel like next to elements of the pink pill with the black woman spear, if you want to call it that, that is probably one of the most nefarious grift and one of the most toxic communities out there, because it's actively creating propaganda for ethnic and black men to hold a strong vendetta and put all of their blame, all of their insecurities, all of their reason as to why they can't self-actualize on the opposite gender that looks exactly like them, ethnic and or black women. And it's very toxic. It's not healthy. Content creator for Harriet even talked about how she faced a level of digital terrorism by this space for the sole purpose of her just not joining a guy's podcast. And she was stalked. Her boyfriend was stalked.
He wrote more than a dozen blog posts filled with disinformation about me on his Manosphere website. And I haven't done the work of going through every single social media post, but it's dozens for sure. But ultimately, as I mentioned earlier, the craziest, most hurtful part of this entire ordeal was how, after my digital terrorist couldn't get my attention, he sought out my romantic partner, who is not a content creator. And first he DM'd my partner in September. Actually, I remember seeing the DMs when we were in Cabo celebrating his 40th birthday. And he, in the DMs on both Instagram and Facebook, seemed to want to confront my partner because he had been defending me on those platforms and explicitly rejecting the aims of the manosphere. So When my boyfriend did not respond to those provocations, my digital terrorist embarked on a several months long campaign of lying about him, cyber stalking him, posting weird stuff.
I've witnessed some of these spaces before. They have nothing positive to give you. It's a cesspool of you having a disdain towards the opposite gender that looks like you so that you can cope with the emotions and insecurities as to why you can't self-actualize, as to why you can't get that job you want, as to why you're not making enough money, as to why you can't get with the women you want to. That's all I'm gonna say. But when we started looking for answers on the internet through these dating coaches, through these lifestyle femininity girlies, through these manosphere red pill men, and also through these like self-actualization lifestyle life coach people, right? Women realized that commercial feminism wasn't helping, and men didn't like the way commercial feminism always put them in a bad light, I guess. And so inevitably we would have this era of the internet where we're all just dragging the opposite sex, being more and more divided, internally fighting left and right. I think it's one of the biggest reasons why social media is no longer fun for a lot of people, why some people have abandoned platforms. Like, I'm not even on Twitter like that anymore because I just do not have the bandwidth to deal with the cesspool of toxicity that's on Twitter anymore. And I have to skillfully make sure that I am curating my content on my YouTube algorithm to ensure that I am not seeing any type of femininity, red pill, adjacent manosphere content, because I don't want to see that stuff. I just want to watch my commentary content and go along with my day. I don't want to have to wake up in the morning, look at myself in the mirror, and figure out whether or not I'm feminine enough because I decided to put on a Keep It Salty baggy t-shirt and some sweatpants instead of putting on a cottagecore milkmaid dress that's from House of CB. Like, I just don't want to do that. And I don't think I'm the only woman or femme out there that feels like there are outside forces for a woman to act and portray themselves a certain way. I feel like there's a lot of women out here who feel like there's just like this unspoken pressure that the way you are being a woman, the way you are being feminine, the way your existence is right now is not enough. But it feels like with influx of this content on the internet that you need to buy these courses, that you need to look a certain way, you need to portray yourself a certain way, especially if you're a single woman. And that leads me to my next point. The dating landscape right now sucks. Because of social media and because of the instant gratification of a lot of dating apps and the idea that you can always find something potentially better on these apps. And not just in dating apps, by the way, but also in general. That is potentially destroying a lot of relationships and connections people have. People aren't willing to have earnest and honest connections with each other anymore because of this, and dating is just a little bit harder and a lot more difficult to navigate. And then you factor in that the late Kevin Samuels or the Myron Gaines and the Andrew Tates and the Sprinkle ladies all sitting up here telling you how you're supposed to maneuver dating culture, and it's just a goulash of bad choices waiting to happen. Okay, with that in mind, that took me 46 minutes to like preface the landscape. I noticed that when SheraSeven entered in the space, the manosphere as we knew it was dying out. And someone like a SheraSeven was going to be inevitable. And the reason why is because when you look at what has happened for the past 3 or 4 years on social media spaces, the manosphere has been having an era, honey. I remember how the radicalization just magically happened. And this is how I can tell people are being radicalized. Because at one point, for me personally, there were like self-care videos that were being recommended in my algorithm. And I was like, oh, I'd like to smell good. I'd like to relax. I'd like to take care of myself. And it's slowly but surely trickles into like self-actualization content, and it's like I'm not really a fan of that, but that's fine. And then it starts going into like femininity content, and you're like, what is YouTube trying to say? Like, am I not woman enough for you, YouTube? And then you start going onto your shorts and you're scrolling on your shorts and you're really just trying to look for ways to clean your bed sheet, and now you're looking at content of Pearl Davis sit up here and tell some other conventionally attractive woman that she should let her man cheat because she has an Instagram, and all these comments under here are like, yeah, Pearl, you're right, speak your truth. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? I did not ask for this. why am I here? How did I get here? But when you look at the most successful pillars of the manosphere, right? Part of the grift is you have to make the opposite gender look stupid. You have to make these women look stupid. You have to get the bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, barely 18-year-old, has no business really being on OnlyFans like that model on your panel, drunk out of her mind, substances out of her mind, to sit up here and say some dumb, outlandish BS so you can sit up there and humble her for 30 minutes straight or kick her off your platform. You have to have that because those men are not going to enjoy it. And I even dare to say that some of the OnlyFans models, or even some of the models that get on those platforms who play into that fantasy of being like the perfect high value woman for those men, even those women are onto the grift too, because they know at the end of the day, whether they look like assholes or whether they align with that ideology, those men are still going to buy their content on OnlyFans for $5.99. What? They're going to do it. They're going to sit here and listen to these content creators berate and insult these women left and right, call them all types of whores, washed up, nasty, trashy women. And after they've done all of that shit, peep their Instagram, check to see if they have an OnlyFans, pay them $5.99 a month and have a field day with their gym sock, Nivea lotion, and a dream, honey. Like, it's all curated and contrived and planned that way, okay? It's planned to make you feel like you are a strong, high-value man, where you proceed to give these women that you think you are better than anywhere between $5 to $20 a month on their OnlyFans, okay? So, like, yeah. SheraSeven doesn't do that. SheraSeven sits up here and she just talks her shit and people like it, okay? The manosphere has died out rightfully for reasons. One of the pillars, Kevin Samuels, he passed away. For those of you who do not know who Kevin Samuels is, he was a black manosphere content creator that a lot of people had a lot of respect for, but he basically made his whole brand off of humbling black women, inviting them onto his platform and berating and insulting them. I will not wish ill on the dead. That's not my ministry. I don't play with that. But what I will say is God don't like ugly. Okay, so do with that information what you will. Fart and Funky, I like to call him, which is like Myron Gaines and his minion. I don't know his name. I don't have time to figure out his name. Again, they were known to do the trashy Manosphere podcast. Think lowbrow Steven Crowder, Make It Miami, like trashy Miami. They would do the same thing that Kevin Samuels would do, except it would be more for a younger audience, more or less. He'd bring on panels of women, probably get them drunk out of their mind, I'll say allegedly, only for him to sit there and insult them for 4 hours straight and humble them for sport, kicks them off if he didn't like the way they said certain things or the way they came off in interviews, and basically have the most asinine, lowbrow, easily debunkable arguments ever. In less than a couple years of their rise to fame, they got demonetized off of the YouTube platform. They can no longer make money on YouTube based off of their super chats or on their podcasts the way they used to. Pearl Davis is also another pillar who really just regurgitates what any of those men say, word for word, has nothing insightful to add, and really is the epitome of POV, your last 3 brain cells trying to figure out how to exist. Like, really, she's the epitome of dense. She got demonetized. Andrew Tate, pillar of the self-actualization in manosphere community, right? He got deplatformed, I believe. And then he got on house arrest because it came out, surprise, surprise, a piece of shit. And he was, in fact, creating a sex traffic ring, so with a bunch of women. And he bragged about it. He bragged loud and proud about it on his site, which I'm so sorry. You must be dumb as rocks to brag about having a sex traffic ring on your platform and have the audacity to put it behind a paywall. But again, as you see, all the pillars of the manosphere have been taken down, either through being unalived, deplatformed, or arrested. The manosphere out. There's not much to talk about. There's not much to say. There's not much to add to that space because it's not as big anymore. They were literally out here fighting for scraps. The inevitable downfall that would solidify the end of the manosphere would be someone like a SheraSeven, because when you look at SheraSeven and what she stands for, she aligns to the same rhetoric of the manosphere, of the traditional male fantasy, tradwife values, kept woman lifestyle, stay in your feminine aura, but she does it in a way that puts one over on men and allows women to play into the idea or the fantasy and facade of what hypergamy and what the traditional modesty wife lifestyle can give you. I hope I'm making sense here, right? Basically, SheraSeven pushes this fantasy to women in the same way that Kevin Samuels, Myron Gaines, all these other Manosphere men have been pushing this fantasy to men, that you can benefit from the system, from patriarchy, by indulging in your feminine. In the same way that the Manosphere tells men, you have to benefit from the system. Here's how. Join my dropshipping course for $50. You can benefit from the system by getting rich and making a lot of money. And then once you have a lot of money and have a lot of wealth, you can just humble these women. And boom, not only are you benefiting from the system, but you're also humbling women in the process. And isn't that what you want? Don't you want to be like Drake in your 40s, still ranting about how horrible women are to you, even though you're damn near a billionaire, right? SheraSeven really is the karma for a lot of y'all's transgressions for letting the Manosphere into these spaces, letting them infiltrate these spaces, and letting it really have such a chokehold on social media and the internet. There is no reason why someone like a Kevin Samuels should be platformed by Future, Nicki Minaj, and have a guest role on Donald Glover's Atlanta. Look at the role that he was in Donald Glover's Atlanta. There was literally no reason why he had to be there. Throughout the entire show, he had controversial figure after controversial figure on his platform, but like that, for that episode in particular, it just made no sense. But see, that's the thing, right? This is why SheraSeven's false karma. The men who have uplifted the Kevin Samuels, the Andrew Tates, the Fartin Funkies, all of them, like they got a little bit too comfortable in feeling all their insecurities as to why they can't get a woman. They got a little too comfortable platforming these men who really had no business getting these platforms or obtaining these platforms in the first place. And just as a woman, okay, as a woman, if I was a single woman, if I was on the dating scene and I did align with traditional, I'm gonna submit to my man values, right? I would not let a man lead me anywhere if his leaders and his figures are Andrew Tate, Kevin Samuels, and the Fartin Funky Brigade. I would not, because already they're leading you to absolutely nothing. And my question is to the men who subscribe to that belief system, who think that they are going to find a high value submissive woman that is going to be willing to put up with their bullshit. What made you think that these women would want any of your time and would take up their time to put up with y'all? And then when you get mad and butthurt that your movement inevitably failed, rightfully so, because most of those men in those spaces are goddamn idiots, why are you acting surprised that SheraSeven is taking off? Answer me now. Why are you acting surprised? If it wasn't going to be SheraSeven, it was going to be somebody else. Sheena 5 or Karen 14. It was going to be another person, another woman out here who would have literally taken the rhetoric and the ideas and the viewpoints of the Manosphere and literally reflected back at them 10 times twofold. And it's sad because again, you had people in power, black folks in power, individuals in power, platforming these people, thinking it's perfectly okay to subscribe to this rhetoric, and in the same breath hate the women who actively try to subscribe to the rhetoric that they're preaching. You sit up here and say that you want a submissive woman and you want her to be high value and cook and clean and take care of the family and be in her feminine and not work, and who cares if she has a degree? Smarts and literacy isn't important in a relationship. Who cares if she makes any money? Financial stability isn't important in the relationship. I want a trophy wife, high value woman. Okay, SheraSeven is that. SheraSeven has the kept wife lifestyle. SheraSeven is teaching these women how to actively seek the men that you are preaching these poor, insecure individuals, young boys, men to be. SheraSeven is teaching those women to seek those men that you are preaching towards. Why are y'all surprised that she exists? Why are y'all mad that she's taking up this space? Why are y'all now suddenly saying that she's a cancer to the family structure, to the nuclear family structure, to the black family household? Y'all did this. Y'all did this with pride. Y'all did this proud and loud. It is a sad, sad place when you literally have to sit up here and find a man in a cheap tailored suit to play the father figure that y'all never had in your life, to tell you how to carry yourself as a man, and do it all the way wrong. It is a very sad day. What happened to IRL mentors? What happened to that? It is a sad day when a man who's been a reality TV star, a UFC fighter, and a iteration of an MLM schemer is sitting up here trying to tell you how to be a better man and how to build wealth, i.e. build his wealth by joining his MLM pyramid scheme of drop shipping. It is a sad day when you're listening to those motherfuckers for advice. It's an even sadder day for women to feel like they have to subscribe to this belief system in order to gain some sort of stability. And that leads me to my next point about SheraSeven and this whole movement and the whole tradwife, hypergamy movement that we're in right now. I think I'm in a safe space to say this because for the longest time I felt like if I said this, people would call me bitter, ugly, humble, anything but a child of God, okay? The tradwives, hypergamy girlies are lying to you. As a woman, they are lying to you. Grift for the trad wife girlies is for them to cosplay a trad wife while being a full-time content creator, making bank off of pretending to be Martha Stewart. Making bank off of pretending to be a submissive woman. Making more money than the men that they're supposed to let lead the household. Now we're entering this era of the 20-year-old trad wife to 40-year-old divorcee mom pipeline, which I think is crazy because I never thought we'd be here. I thought we were so far gone and so far lost that people wouldn't wake up and understand that this is a lie and a facade that these content creators are trying to convince you is the way you should live, okay? Because a lot of these 40-year-old women, a lot of these 50-year-old women, a lot of these women who've been through the same shit, who thought it couldn't happen to my husband, it couldn't be my man. I'm gonna let him handle all the finances. I'm not gonna educate myself. I'm gonna leave that degree up on the highest shelf in the home, and I'm not gonna work. I'm gonna be a homemaker, and I'm gonna take care of my husband, and I'm gonna take care of my kids, and I'm gonna take care of the house, and I'm just not gonna have anything to fall back on if shit goes awry. Because why would they? He's my man. He's gonna take care of me. He loves me till death do us part, right? That's what we signed up for. Until you realize that your man damn near left you for someone half your age and gave you nothing in return but 4 kids and the little hope of will that you have to figure out how you're gonna make it.
That trad wife to single mom in your 40s pipeline, yes, that's being exposed. All down my For You page, we got these women that are 40, maybe 50 years old, talking about how they were the perfect trad wife. They baked bread, they cleaned the house, they had unmedicated births, they stayed home and reared the kids, and their man still left them for somebody that was 15 years younger than them. Literally. And that's the thing. I think that's why people don't like Nara Smith. One, the Mormon thing, and then also because she's romanticizing the idea of being a trad wife. When in actuality, no amount of self-sacrifice and no amount of people-pleasing and man-pleasing is going to prevent somebody that seeks to mistreat you from mistreating you. That's how that happens. I mean, that's just what it is. You can never be perfect enough for someone that seeks to hurt you. Okay? Y'all. It's really sad watching these women like basically say, I'm a single mom of 4 kids now. He lives with another woman, blah, 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 blah. And I saw somebody in the comments that said something so perfect. You never see a 40-year-old trad wife advocating to become a trad wife. A lot of the times it's typically somebody that is young and very new in the lifestyle. Y'all, if you're in your 20s, even if you're in your 30s, listen to these women, okay? They are what your future could look like.
Okay, listen, like my water bottle, it's nice. My boyfriend's. I'm gonna tell you some real shit, okay? This is some wisdom, all right? I learned this from the women in my family. You can have your standards higher than a soaring eagle's pussy, but you must always, 100%, absolutely have your own money. And if you don't have your own money, you need a support system in case things go awry. As a woman or femme in 2024, that is the most important thing I can tell you. Stop letting these influencers, stop letting these content creators, stop letting these people who are trying to give you mentorships for $75 a week sit up here and tell you that you can get a multi-million-dollar man if you just play the system, if you crack the code. All right, I'm not even trying to be mean. I'm being honest, all right? This is real talk. This is big sister real talk time, okay? If you find an uber wealthy man, if you are lucky enough to be with an uber wealthy man, take a look at that prenup. Get your attorney to take a look at that prenup. Don't get his attorney to take a look at that prenup. You take a look at that prenup. Because if shit goes awry, and trust me, I don't trust men with a lot of money, so it's inevitable that it will always go awry, okay? He is going to leave you high and dry, trying to figure it out with whatever family he created and inevitably broken up to be with some hot Brazilian wife that he found in his passport bro era that's half your age. He will do that. So listen to me. This is very important, all right? I'm being serious here. You need to have your own as a woman. Yes, you can have your standards super high. Do that. But also in the same breath, understand that a man is not a plan. A man is not a gateway to success. A man is not a gateway to stability. We don't even have to go gender for gender. People aren't putting all your eggs in one basket in a person is a very, very dangerous game. Not just for monetary value, not just for resource value, but also for like friendships, relationships, emotions, all of that. Take care of yourself. Hypergamy has been romanticized heavily on the internet. Know the risks of hypergamy. I'm not gonna sit up here and say that hypergamy bad, don't do it. Do what you want, but you gotta know the risks. And that's with anything, because there's risks with everything. There's risks with being the breadwinner. There's risks in you going 50-50, and there's also risks in you living a hypergamous lifestyle. You have to know how to have a support system or have your own, or how to get out of these situations when they no longer serve you. Because the last thing you want to do is get yourself in a hypergamous lifestyle, and then you realize that you can't get yourself out of it because you don't have any money, because you relate all your finances over to your partner. Financial abuse is a thing. People need to be more literate of the idea of financial abuse when you don't have your own. And it is so important that you strive to have some sort of stability on your own as a woman, which is why I say it is a very nefarious grift that a lot of these women are playing into the femininity, taking care of kept woman lifestyle coaches. And it's also a nefarious grift that these manosphere men are sitting up here and saying, we don't care about your degrees. We don't care about how much money you make. We don't care if you have a mind of your own. We don't care about that. Why would they care about that? That means you would be smart enough to see through the grift, which is they're trying to get you to fall in love with this idealized version of the nuclear family household and never will be reinvented or done in present day time. In 2024, few and far in between have the luxury of living a nuclear family lifestyle. If you're in a relationship, 2 people, 9 times out of 10, both of y'all are working. The sad thing about like the femininity grift is that they will sit up here and they will tell you that your answer to financial stability is in another man's pocket without letting you know and educating you on the risks and the dangers you put yourself in when you put your whole entire investment on another man's pockets. SheraSeven was never really meant to be digested by non-Black women. It was very clear based off of how she carried herself and that her audience was for and was to be consumed and digested by Black women first. And then everybody else came second. And so again, when I see a bunch of folks, a bunch of white women doing dissertations, a bunch of white men sitting up here putting in their input about how SheraSeven should be ran, it really does give, okay, but why are you in Black folks' business though? She wasn't meant for you guys. Realistically, she wasn't meant for any of y'all, because she's here trying to get a check. During the bag, she's playing the Manosphere hustle, except she's rebranding it with the dark femininity aura and charm. She's not really a dating coach. Y'all made her a dating coach. She's not really a mentor. Y'all made her a mentor. Stop making these people that you find entertaining and interesting and provocative on the internet your mentors, your dating coaches, your idols, your role models. They are people first, and they will let you down, okay? The tradwife lifestyle, the hypergamous lifestyle, sprinkle, all of that. It's cute to look at on the internet, but like in all honesty, it's not telling you the whole truth of that lifestyle and what you're gonna have to risk. It's also not telling you, if you do identify with more liberal values or feminist values, how much you're going to have to sacrifice as someone of those values in order to align to that lifestyle. And I don't think I would be able to get a high value or an uber wealthy man looking like this, okay? I would totally have to do a rebrand into a version of myself that I wouldn't even like. I'd have to be less outspoken. I'd have to be more demure. It's just not my brand, really, you know? But that's what you might have to do, unfortunately, in order to get your foot in these doors of these spaces. And so my question is to you, are you willing to endure that? Are you willing to go through that? Are you willing to sit up here and play the long game and mind games to get a wealthy man to take care of you? And do you have the mental bandwidth to handle when the wealthy man no longer wants anything to do with you? And or while you're with said wealthy man, do you have enough money and income and earnings to take care of yourself when you have to get yourself out of a tumultuous situation or a toxic relationship? Do you? Like, these are the questions you have to ask yourself. Just like there's risks to anything else. Being 50-50, if your partner loses your job, you basically have to cover it. Are you willing to always be in employment to ensure that your other partner is going to be well taken care of? Are you willing to endure that? If you're the breadwinner, like, same thing. Are you willing to be the sole breadwinner of your family? And if all shit fails, if you fall ill or get sick, now you can't work anymore, and now the family has to figure out what they're gonna do for income? Like, these are serious questions you have to ask yourself. And these aren't questions that need to be romanticized or contrived on the internet to make you think that, like, this is the way you should live your life as a woman. These are serious questions that you need to look at yourself in the mirror and have, like, a true conversation of, like, okay, do I want this or do I not? There's nothing wrong with being a tradwife or a stay-at-home mom, by the way, or kept woman or trophy wife, all right? I want to be a trophy wife in my 40s. That's the plan. Like, I don't want to do this shit forever, okay? But it's just like, I also want to be a trophy wife with my own. I want to be a trophy wife with some money. I want to be a trophy wife with a plan out. I'll be my own trophy wife. I don't care. Final thoughts. SheraSeven is y'all's karma. Y'all being completely okay with letting these manospheres, you know, take up space, way more space than they need to, talk out their ass way more than they should be, and insult, berate, and degrade women way longer than they should have. I will say that non-Black women trying to insert and dissect themselves in the space of a SheraSeven, some of y'all, your heart's in the right place, but like, unless you've done the work to understand the intersectionality as to why SheraSeven is so successful in these spaces, it might behoove of you to sit this one out, sister. Respectfully, like, let's just pop a squat, because there's nothing really intersectional about what SheraSeven is doing. What she's doing is grifting. What she's doing is securing the bag for herself. You could even argue she's potentially securing the bag for herself just in case the relationship under her husband, Mr. Sprinkle Sprinkle, does not work out, okay? Let's not insert ourselves in conversations without understanding the intersectionality behind why these conversations are had. One thing I will say is that one of the biggest reasons why SheraSeven has grown in popularity, especially with Black women and in these spaces, Black women in particular have dealt with an uncanny amount of abuse from not just the manosphere, but Black manosphere spaces. They have been the blame, the scapegoat, the problem, the bed wench, the whore, the slut, the whatever else in these spaces. They have been told that their degrees don't matter, their education doesn't matter, their money doesn't matter. Any of these things to support themselves as a person does not matter. They are defeminized in almost an instant anytime they open their mouth and have some sort of opinion about the world, about life, if it doesn't align with the dumb BS rhetoric that a lot of these men be preaching on the internet, right? So listening to these dating coaches on the internet, they don't know what they're talking about. They're teaching you how to be a dick in the preliminary phases of being in a relationship. They are not teaching you how to be a partner when you're in a committed relationship. Talk to a therapist. Talk to somebody who is in a healthy relationship. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this video. Let me know in the comments if you think SheraSeven is our karma, basically. If you think SheraSeven is inevitable. If you think that SheraSeven is healthy for dating landscape right now. Again, this is just a disclaimer. If you come with that smoke and that toxic Black women are bed wenches energy, you will be deleted. I do not have the time. I'm not the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th, 9th, 10th, the 100th. I am not either of those numbers. So do not come in my feed with that bullshit. I just warned you, okay? Again, there's a reason why SheraSeven is running and circulating on the internet. So yeah, that's the end of the video. We should do like water bottle of the week. Don't forget to drink some water. A lot of y'all need to also go to therapy too. Half of y'all's issues would be solved if you guys go to therapy. So while you're drinking some water, consider a therapist. Goodbye.